So it's clear that we are watching the fall of the American empire in real time. And there is a stark difference in the way that the white community is responding and how the black community is responding. The black community en masse has completely withdrawn. They fought, they campaigned, they warned us, and we chose the orange man anyway. And they're out. The white community, on the other hand, is fighting, those of us who aren't under Trump's spell. And there is this real sentiment that if we can just get Trump out of the way, then we can all get back to normal. But the thing is, that's not what God is doing. And I'm not a nihilist, but we're missing the point. The point is, this white supremacist system has wreaked enough havoc. Enough. And God is judging it. And the fact that we are clinging so hard to it makes me wonder, what does the black community see that we don't, that's allowing them to totally let go right now?
What is it that the black community is seeing that many white Americans don't seem to see? Why does it feel like so many black Americans have pulled back from everything that is happening in America? There was a time when black Americans were always out there protesting, speaking up, standing with different groups, supporting immigrants, fighting for justice, trying to push America in the right direction. But now it seems like many have stepped back. A lot of black Americans are staying quiet, minding their own business, no longer rushing to fix problems that does not seem to concern them anymore. What made so many black Americans feel this way? Well, we've got so many Americans responding to that question. And trust me, some of these answers might surprise you. Let's hear what they had to say, and we will come back at the end to really break it all down. If you are enjoying the video, click on that like button.
What is and what should be is really hard for white people to distinguish between, because what is so beneficial to them. Because what do you mean? What do black people see that white people don't see? Why are you inferring that black people have not been sharing this information, shouting it from the fucking rooftops forever? Black people have been telling white people, like, use your privilege to protect those without your white privilege, because the system will come for you eventually if you do not. And then we're fucking surprised when it happens. We're like, what do you guys see that we don't? Common sense is just so fucking dead these days. It's painful. White folks are still romanticizing the United States. They either believe that it was great and it can be again, or that it can be in the future. Black people see very clearly that any system that was built on the exploitation of a historically marginalized community can never be great. Because the truth is, on November 6th, Black people woke up and not much changed for them. Okay, Black people woke up and they were like, all right, I guess we're just going to keep doing the same thing over and over again. And white people woke up on November 6th, 2024 in a fucking panic. Like, oh my God, what's happening? I've never had to experience this before. I've never felt this kind of fear. I've never, like, what do we do? What do we do? And the world has to stop for that. And even though Black communities are stepping back and prioritizing their own well-being in terms of resistance right now, they are still offering guidance to white people for how to effectively fight the monster they created. They are giving you a whole bunch of recommendations on how to do that effectively, and white people keep ignoring it. They keep trying to do things their way, as if their way has worked at any point in the last 250 years. White supremacy is a cult, and white people are not going to leave it until the cost of maintaining membership with the cult is more than the cost to leave the cult. And unfortunately, that requires a lot more hurt. White people are going to have to experience a little bit of the pain that the system has been inflicting on communities of color, specifically other marginalized communities in the world as well. They're going to have to feel that. They're going to have to feel that. And the consequence has to be there for them to just finally wake up and see what Black people have been telling us all along.
Black people are resting. They thought we had more fight in us. Literally every other country that's been through even remotely similar, like at the beginning of everything, has risen up. So, what I presume, fellow pastor, currently I am a minister. I have been a pastor. The thing is, listen to black women. Listen to black women. I'm going to say it one more time. Listen to black women. It's not just that people of our skin tone voted for Trump and all those guys, Republicans again. They don't see us as having fight. I don't either. Now, I'm going to be straight up with you. I am nervous at any sort of conflict. I'll admit, a little bit scared. But if you're feeling really scared, start getting people to speak about rising up. Start getting people in your community to organize and actually organize and be actionable. Start speaking more about it. Nobody that's resting is going to get off their tail unless they see some action, because they are the first ones targeted. There needs to be a whole bunch of people, white people, saying that we are going to be in the front lines. Back us up. Scary, isn't it? I bet you'll chicken out. They do. Right now, people are too comfortable. They're too afraid. We're not even remotely angry enough about school shootings. What makes you think we're angry enough about the pedo-in-chief? Like, if you could, but it would cost you your life, would you? Would you? That's the question they already have the answer to. They haven't seen any action. They've seen people in costumes. After they've endured so much, they've heard from their ancestors, their parents, their grandparents, about the things that happen. They've read about things that are suppressed and not taught to us. So that's why they're resting. They think all of you are cowards. Real talk. It's hard to swallow, isn't it? But what kind of ally can you really call yourself if you're not going to be on the front lines with them, if not in front of them? Would you trust somebody that you know won't show up? Like, they'll talk a big talk, but they won't show up in the moment. You going to trust them? Would you trust them to protect your children? So yeah, you want to speak up about it? Start speaking up about it and getting other people to do the same. Until then, just kind of stay silent about, black folk. I love all of you. And as always, stay amazing.
America is a car and white people are driving. Okay, white people are driving and we see the road signs, we see the stoplights, and we say, hey, slow down. You gotta hit the brakes. This isn't safe. White people just do whatever they want to do. They're driving America, so when America gets into a car accident, you don't turn around and say, hey, what the fuck? You didn't let me know that there was a stoplight right here? Why are you blaming the people in the back? Who's driving? Ask the question to whoever the fuck the driver is, how we got here.
The inevitable is happening. The thing we as black people have known all along about this administration in power, how our rights were being infringed on, how the country would spiral, how women's bodies would be controlled, how education would be gutted, and how the rich would get richer and the poor would get poorer. Because the only difference between this...
You and I and everyone else who supported him, you wrote speeches for him, I campaigned for him, I mean, we're implicated in this for sure. But the question does present itself immediately, like, what is this? Was this always the plan? You don't want to be a conspiracy nut, but like, clearly there were signs of low character. We knew that.
There
are aspects of his personality which are obviously not good and that we've mostly just chosen to overlook. He's not a moral man. He's obviously not the greatest husband in the world. Cost of American lives isn't the motivator. It's just that Trump has moved on to other things because he has the attention span of a gnat.
And
what American is this helping? Besides the industrial war complex, I just don't know. I don't understand. So yeah, that's what our president's up to, and it's fucking baffling.
Isn't you had a change in morality or a different point of view. You're just now impacted. And what a spineless way to live. You say to yourself, I'm okay if marginalized groups are impacted as long as my positioning as a white person is unchanged in this country. We knew. So when you ask,
what does the black community see that we don't, that's allowing them to totally let go?
We saw you. We saw our parents and grandparents fight for their rights as humans. We saw how at every turn, the only thing people in America, white American men, and those white American women who feed into racism and the patriarchy want is capitalistic system where black people don't benefit, women stay in their place, the masses remain uneducated, and America stays white. So yes, we knew. MAGA voters are speaking out against Trump. Farmers are watching crops rot because of tariffs, federal workers losing jobs they thought were safe, veterans seeing benefits get cut. But none of this is shocking because the policy didn't change. Their proximity to it did. This pattern is as old as oppression itself. If we go back to the Reconstruction era after the Civil War, poor white and black farmers were in the same economic boats, exploited by the same landowners, crushed by the same debt systems. They actually started organizing together. The populist movement was building real cross-racial working class power. But the planter class got panicked. They did not want poor people joining up against wealthy people. So they did what ruling classes always do. They offered poor white farmers something black farmers couldn't have: social status. The feeling of being above somebody. Jim Crow wasn't just about hate. It was a political strategy to break solidarity before it became a threat, and it worked. Poor white Southerners voted against their own economic interests for generations, even until today, because they were giving the psychological wage of whiteness instead of actual wages. Fast forward to the New Deal, FDR's programs of Social Security, labor protections, the right to organize were genuinely transformative. But to get Southern Democrats on board, they excluded the jobs black people were most likely to hold: domestic workers, agricultural laborers, left out by design. White workers built generational wealth on those programs. Black workers were locked out altogether. So when someone says the government used to work for regular people, it did. Just not all of them, and just not all of us. And these are the same sentiments of MAGA today. Ida B. Wells warned us. She said, a country willing to use terror against black people had already proven it would use terror as a tool, period. The weapon doesn't retire once it's done with one group. MLK said in the Birmingham jail, he wasn't just frustrated with the segregationists, he was frustrated with the white moderates who thought they could stay comfortable while injustice ran its course. Injustice doesn't run its course. Frederick Douglass understood that freedom, if it wasn't protected for everyone, was just a loan. One thing we know about loans is that loans get called in. But in this country, if we have built and defended the political infrastructure to protect minority rights when black communities were screaming that these systems were dangerous, everyone would have protections right now and rights today. Now we're watching tariffs gut the same farming communities that cheered trade wars aimed at protecting them. Federal jobs disappearing from the same towns that voted to shrink government because the cuts were supposed to hit someone else. The tools they're using on immigrants, on black voters, and now the white working class Americans, those same tools are now pointed somewhere new. You cannot outsource your freedom to someone else's oppression and expect to stay free. The only way any of us stay protected is if the system is built to protect all of us. America is in a very precarious place. And if we just believe black people, if we just granted black people equal protections and rights and freedoms under the law without the need for us to be in this centuries-long fight, then maybe, just maybe, we all would have adequate protections and not fall into a despot running our country dry while enriching his helm of billionaires. You ask black people, what did we see that you didn't see? We saw our story and our history. Stay black, stay blessed.
Clear to me that a lot of y'all have never been in a toxic relationship, and unfortunately I have. But let me tell you how this goes. In a toxic relationship, you usually have one person who isn't shit, right? It's usually the man. And the man is, emotionally abusive. He is a cheater. He's a liar. He's a manipulator. He gaslights. He's narcissistic. But he also has a lot of potential, right? He also can be very loving. He also promises things to come in the future, right? He also can be very exciting at times. And those things keep the woman around. But when things are bad, shit goes up, right? Windows get broken, cars get scratched up, TVs get shattered, broken glass everywhere. Just a lot of chaos in these situations at times, right? And this goes on. These ebbs and flows, these ups and downs go on for years sometimes. But at some point, the abused party in his relationship just completely wakes up and decides that he or she is over it, right? And when that happens, there is no blow up. There is no broken windows. There is no shattered windshields. There is no scratched up cars. There's just calm, right? There's folded clothes. There's neatly packed possessions, and that person decides to go on about their business, and that's where black people are with this country at this point, right? Like, we're just sick of y'all shit. And we're not going to protest. We're not rioting. We're not doing none of that shit. You know what I mean? Most of us are just simply withdrawing, going on about our business and surviving like we know how to, like we have always done since this country, since before this country was founded.
We already know what's coming down the pike. We have seen what happens when white supremacy meets capitalism meets stupid. This is not our first rodeo. We campaigned. We did everything we could. And when the time came that y'all said no, we went, okay. You know how you first learned to ride a bike and your parents are there holding you and, I've got you, it's okay. And then they see that you've got it and then they let you go. This is kind of that, but this is more y'all driving nuclear weapons into the ground. Like, we just got to go, okay, because there's nothing we can do. You have made your stance. You have made your point. You have said outright, you are tired of having to feel as though being white is a crime. Although I don't know who the fuck said that except other white people. Because we didn't fucking say it. So, to end this, we understand that shit's going to get bad. We understand that prices are going to go up. And we also understand that there is absolutely nothing we can do about it. We also know that protesting would probably get us shot in the streets. So that's the other reason why we stay home. But I figured y'all should have known that so I wouldn't have to cover it.
White supremacy is cruel and it runs deep in the heart of America, down to its foundation. And the Trump family has long had the power, money, and influence without paying any of the price to sustain their hold on America. What is it, like 5 generations of Trump have never served? And every generation in my family has served? There's a big difference. And we've known this, not just recently, for hundreds of years. And when we finally got a voice, we tried to warn y'all. We tried to warn y'all a long time ago. And the last time somebody really got y'all attention, y'all shot him. And the time before that, y'all shot him. And the time before that, y'all shot him. So if that's what y'all really want, that's what y'all got. Far be it from us to deprive ourselves of a spectacle, know what I mean? Drink water. Do better.
The United States has bad credit when it comes to us. If you went out to get a car and they denied you because your history of payment is sketchy, it's because you have bad credit. If you went to get a house and you could not get the loan because your history of payment is sketchy, it's because you have bad credit. Black people are tired because the United States has bad credit with us. For the years that we have been paying into this country, its return on our investment is shoddy. So we're tired.
Epigenetically speaking, everybody and everything white, mind you, in order to be considered white, all you have to do is just collaborate against blackness, right? Like, immigrants were coming here and getting promised job opportunities and the reality of being left alone by whiteness and assimilation into whiteness, right? But all you had to do was just keep black people from working at your establishments. Or in some of the Mexican cases, stop them from voting. Or stop us from voting, excuse me. Like, show up to the polls, be like, get out of here. Like what? But yeah, epigenetically speaking, if your entire culture rewards you with like dopamine spikes and like serotonin spikes and like camaraderie and culture and like all these different things, and the only price you have to pay is treating us like the other, then that's how you get the situation that we're in now, where so many of y'all don't see what's going on because it's baked into your gene expression. It's baked into your knee-jerk reactions whenever you see certain things, and that's propaganda too. Propaganda, which comes from Birth of a Nation, which literally was just white folk getting together creating a moving picture that was just them killing us and them justifying them killing us. And then they showed it to the president, and the president was like, damn, that's the greatest movie I've ever seen in my fucking life. Then you got the lens of whiteness that, you know, we just see it as a capitalist, imperialist, white supremacist patriarchy, right? And then when that is the filter of, like, that's just the filter of everybody's experience who is indigenous. And everybody's experience, because I'm not finna act like that it's not other cultures who are like maybe indigenous to like another land outside of America, and they come over here and then they try to like whitewash themselves in order to get the benefits of being in the society, right? Like I'm on y'all head. And then that note, you know, you have the entire world conspiring against who you are just so that they can get the benefits of a fucking ritualistic, satanic, pedophilic, sacrificial cult that which uses propaganda, lies to justify not even killing you all the way. And that might be the most insidious part about it, right? Is one of the most, there's a lot of insidious parts about this whole shit, but one of the most insidious parts about it is that they need to keep us alive enough to use us as an energy source. They used to eat us. Y'all used to eat us. Somebody 6 degrees of separation is more like 3. If it wasn't physical, it was spiritual. If it wasn't spiritual, it was mental. If it wasn't mental, it was emotional. At some point, you consumed blackness in order to exist. That's the price you pay. That's like that's the passive effect of existing in America as a non-black. You're just consuming blackness at some level. And then it's like we fight our way out of slavery, and then y'all hide the history behind that. We start making our own cities and our own everything, where, like, for example, in Wilmington, even if you were white, you were still getting bread with us. You were still getting money with us. But folks in Raleigh was hating on us so much, bro. They came through with a Gatling gun and got rid of that shit. And then there's the whole dynamic between like having your melanin so studied to the point where they know its reaction to crack 30 years before they implement it into all of your communities. And the reason why they implemented it into your communities was because you wanted to stop getting killed by the police, and you wanted to stop paying for shit that should be a natural human right. Food, shelter, water, education, healthcare. It was all you wanted, and we got crack in return. And all of this is just within the past 150 years. Like everything that I'm talking about is just what happened within the past like 150 years. Come on, bro. Like, what are we talking?
Your community has tried to socialize my community for hundreds of years. And when you look at some of the pathologies and things that are affecting my community, it is directly associated with the values imposed on us by your community. So we see it. And now that we have the opportunity and the ability to reject it, we're rejecting it. We want no parts of it. None. So when I hear white people say that the problems of the black community is because they're not emulating the values of the white community, yeah, miss us with that. Because we see you. We see that every single time a community other than yours takes a marginal step forward, y'all crash out and take us to the brink of annihilation. Every time. every time, like clockwork. And so we don't want any parts of that. We don't want any parts of it. If you want to make America great again and take your country back, take it back. Take it back. Have it. We're going to be over here building our future, over here being excellent, over here creating doctors and business owners. We're going to do all of that independent of you. And now, because we live in a society that has a real-time record where we can put the actions of your community in real time across the world, you can't just show up and burn us down anymore. You can't just ride in the middle of the night covered in sheets and destroy our cities and our towns and the things that we build. So yeah, we're not focused on white people at all. So the idea that white people will face retribution theory the moment they become the minority in this country is just projection, because we would never, ever do to you what you've done to us, because we have no desire to ever be you. So if you really want to know what we see you. We see what you are. We see what you have been. And we don't want any parts of it. I hope this helps.
Brothers and sisters, the main thing we should understand is that Black Americans did not just wake up and decide to be quiet for no reason. This did not come from nowhere. This is years and years of being expected to show up for everybody, fight for everybody, protect everybody, speak for everybody. But when it is time for those other people to stand with Black Americans, they are nowhere to be found. This is one of the biggest reasons why many Black Americans stepped back. They are tired of one-sided solidarity. Black Americans have been on the front line of every major fight in America. Civil rights, voting rights, immigrant rights, police reform, freedom of speech. Black Americans have always been there. Even when the issue was not directly about them, they showed up because they believed in justice. But let's be honest. When Black Americans need help, who really shows up? And that question is not small. That question comes from the real frustration. Many Black Americans feels like other groups are quick to borrow their language, the culture, the struggle, and the energy of Black Americans when it benefits them. But when the conversation becomes about reparations, police violence, inavailability of jobs, high housing costs, the long damage of slavery and Jim Crow, suddenly people start changing the subject. A 2024 PRRI survey showed that Americans are still deeply divided on whether generation of slavery and discrimination gave white people unfair economic advantage, with many white Americans rejecting that idea. That alone tells you why many Black Americans are tired of explaining the reality over and over again. So when people say, why are Black Americans quiet? The answer is, maybe they are not quiet because they don't care. Maybe they are quiet because they are tired of giving their energy to a country that keeps pretending that they don't understand their pain. Another reason is political disappointment. Black Americans have marched, organized, donated, protested, and carried movements on their back. But after all of that, many still look around and see the same problems. The wealth gap is still there. Police brutality is still there. Poor schools are still there. Discrimination is still there. The cost of living is rising. Many Black families are still trying to survive, not because they lack talent or discipline, but because America has not fully repaired what it broke, and people are not blind. They can see when politicians come around during election season, use nice words, take pictures in Black churches, talk about justice, then disappear when it's time to deliver your policy. That creates frustration. Black Americans continue to see racism and discrimination as major forces shaping their lives and their view of American institutions. So after a while, people start saying, why should I keep running to save a system that does not rush to serve me? That is not laziness, that is not hatred, that is exhaustion. And we also have to talk about emotional fatigue. Black Americans have been asked to be strong for too long. Every time something happens in America, people expect Black Americans to be the moral voice of the nation. They expect them to explain racism, forgive racism, educate racists, protest peacefully, comfort everybody, and still keep smiling. But nobody asks, are they tired? Nobody asks, how much trauma can one community carry? This is why this withdrawal feels different. It is not just political, it is spiritual, it is emotional, it is mental. A lot of Black Americans are choosing peace now. They are choosing their families. They are choosing their businesses. They are choosing their health. They are choosing not to give their free labor to the movements that do not respect them. Another reason is that many Black Americans feel like their warnings were ignored. They warned people about racism. They warned people about anti-blackness. They told people how America treats a person when they are no longer useful. They warned immigrants, telling them that chasing whiteness and disrespecting Black Americans will never protect them. But many people laughed, ignored them, or joined in the disrespect. Now, when some of those people are facing the same reality of America, they want Black Americans to rush back to the front line. But this time, men are saying, no, you did not listen when we taught you. Now you need to learn for yourself. This is why this moment is so powerful. It is not that Black Americans have no compassion. Black Americans have shown compassion for everybody. The history proves it. They have fought not only for themselves, but for others too. But compassion without boundaries becomes exploitation. And many Black Americans are realizing that. So when Black Americans step back, it is not confusion. They are watching people reveal themselves. And we cannot ignore economic. A lot of Black Americans are dealing with real life pressure. Rent, groceries, they are all going high. They are all skyrocketing. Wages are not matching the cost of living. Many people are working hard and still struggling. Black Americans are not withdrawing because they hate justice. They are tired of being used as the engine for everybody else's justice, while their own justice is delayed. They are tired of being told to wait. They are tired of being told to be patient. They are tired of being told to care about everybody, while everybody debates about whether their pain is even real. So maybe this silence is not weakness. Maybe it is strategy. Maybe it is a message. Maybe it is Black Americans saying that they are no longer fighting battles of the people who cannot fight for them. Maybe it is about them saying that they are going to protect their energy now. And honestly, that's what makes this moment so serious. That was it for today. I want you all to tell me down there in the comment section. If you have enjoyed watching this one, don't forget to click on that like button and subscribe for more upcoming episodes.